What's going on, everybody? It's another Monday night. It's another edition of the Legion of Raw. I am with the bro of bros, Vince Russo. How are you tonight, my friend?
What is happening, Dr. Chris? We made it through the rain. We made it through another edition of Monday Night Raw, and here we are, my friend.
Yes, we did. We made it, man. It's another very interesting episode that's, we're going to sound like two bitter old men in a bingo hole again. Vince, you ready?
What can we say, Chris? I swear, I know you do the same, Chris. I go into every one of these shows with an open mind.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, you got to see throughout the show when they're saying, for the second week in a row, for the third week in a row. Bro, they're telling you they're just repeating stuff over and over and over again. So when they're telling you for the third week in a row, Team Asuka and Lana have beaten, bro, this is what's the Brock thing? Repeat, rinse, dry.
Conquer. Rinse, conquer, repeat, something like that. Yeah.
I mean that's what this is. I mean that's all it is. It's packages. It's repeating what we saw last week. And bro, like for starters, this is something that Chris as a writer really pisses me off, because when Ed Ferrara and I would sit down and write, the first thing we would do is we okay, where did we leave off last week? Mm-hmm. Where did the show end? What was the last thing? And we always made sure we followed it up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Chris, last week they open up the show with that Alexa Bliss business, the handing off of Alexa Bliss. And now Randy Orton has found the Fiend's weakness, mm-hmm. and he's laughing at him, walking up. Okay, where'd that go? She wasn't even on the show.
Yeah, and the end of the show ended up with the Fiend getting some comeuppance, and there was no continuity there, no continuity. And yeah, I mean, it was a joke, man.
I mean, if Randy Orton found the Fiend's weakness last week, and that weakness was Alexa Bliss, bro, wouldn't he follow up on that weakness? I mean, isn't that just logical to you?
Yeah, it's storytelling. I mean, that's just storytelling 101. And here's the thing. This is what I was thinking about when I was watching this, and especially when you were talking. If I was a wrestling fan, based on the fact that there's so much on Raw that's just not there's no continuity in Raw, I can literally stop watching wrestling for 2 years, mm-hmm. pick back up, and I don't want to backlog. There's no need to backlog, right? Because if I'm watching a new series or a new saga that just came out, my wife likes This Is Us, the stuff that's going on. It's like a new interesting series. My best friend's wife loves it too. And so she literally has been binging for like the past 2 weeks.
Right.
Because she watched like season 5 and
right.
she wanted to backlog and watch it from season 1.
Absolutely.
Because there was some continuity there. It was a storyline that went for season after season. She's like, okay, so I'm watching it. I'm interested, and I have to understand the backstory behind it. So I have to binge on it.
Right.
For Raw, that doesn't exist. I can start and stop every 6 months, and I don't need to backlog. And that hurts your business. There's no need for me to backlog.
Yeah, and again, bro, that is what has lost the television viewer, mm-hmm. because that's what hooks a television viewer. That's what's hooking your wife.
Yep.
Having to go back to what did I miss? How was this show built? What are these characters about?
Yep.
That's a television viewer. When none of that exists, bro, you have a show that is down to the only people watching it are those that like wrestling.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and even those who like wrestling stop watching it.
Yeah,
And you feel like, you've got a problem when
I
that's
was
the
even
case.
seeing, bro. I mean, to get off Raw a little bit, I'm
Mhm.
starting to see now 3 weeks in a row that SmackDown number starting to drop again, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, bro, we were into the tribal chief and the head of the table. Me and Chris were ready to buy the T-shirt,
Yep.
but bro, like I'm watching that show, and it's like they don't know where to go with it.
No.
So it's they're repeating that. They're dragging that out.
Mhm.
And bro, look at the numbers week by week by week. People are starting to lose interest in that.
Yeah, it's starting to. I love Reigns. I love what's going on, but it's starting to feel contrived because you had a sense of reality during the J run, during the J angle. It felt real. It was like a new car smell. Roman Reigns is a heel. Is he going to pull it off? He pulls it off masterfully. It has that real element, like you want to hate Roman Reigns because it seemed like he's really treating his little cousin like crap,
Yep.
and so you have that element because again, there's backstory there. They were showing old pictures from when they were playing college ball, you know what I mean? And in high school, there was a sense of reality there. But now, when Jay's just his whipping boy, and it's like,
This is exactly what we're talking about here, Chris. We just talked about last week on Raw. Orton finds the weakness of the Fiend, and we hear nothing about it this week. It's exactly what you're saying, Chris.
Mhm.
Chris, if Roman is doing that to Jey Uso, okay, bro, where's Jimmy Uso? Like they've established these guys as brothers for what, a decade? Where's Jimmy Uso? Whether he's hurt or not, bro, he would show up at this show and say, brah, that's the problem.
Yes.
That is the problem, bro. You talk about reality. I'm going to let you just whip my brother's ass and I ain't going to do a damn thing.
Yes.
That's where they lose people, bro.
I'm hoping that The Rock somehow is the end of this as far as WrestleMania. That's the big that's the big kind of payoff that they are rumored to do. I hope so. I really hope so because it's starting to get contrived too.
Yeah.
David said excellent point, Chris. There was a sense of realism. Yeah, I mean it's just that's the issue. It's just really Ben Hameen. There you go. Ben Hameen stopping by to promote the brand.
God bless Ben Hameen. God bless Ben Hameen. Yes.
Nice. All right, let's get started on the show. We get a moment of Bliss with Randy Orton. No, that was last week. Randy Orton in-ring promo.
Bro, that's another thing. I mean, bro, there are so many packages. Bro, when I did my show, speaking of Ben Hameen and Stevie last week, bro, Stevie timed it out. Bro, there were like 45 minutes of packages.
Wow.
45 minutes of stuff we've already seen.
Talk about stretching I mean, that again, stretching 3 hours. You're stretching and it feels stretched. I mean, simple as that.
Yep.
Randy Orton cuts an in-ring promo. He gets interrupted by a Firefly fun house. I mean, this sets up Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt from the end of the show. Again, I'm confused with this angle. I mean, who's the cheer? Who's the boo? Are we, this angle really confuses me. I mean, you really want to maximize your heels right now. You want really, really strong heels to make Drew look like a really strong babyface. AJ's always that good. I mean, he's always there for you. He's always a good hand, but AJ to me doesn't. I mean, he doesn't with the almost or whatever his name is. He's there, and he's doing his thing. But at the same time, you still need that. You need those strong heels.
Yeah.
And for me, the Orton feud's over, so you're not doing Orton anymore. You want to establish those heels for Drew to make him look stronger, and having this type of feud with Orton versus the Fiend, I'm just not. I'm lost, man. I'm lost.
Again, Chris, this is the problem I have. Okay. Well, bro, at least this way, at least this week, let's put this over. Last week, we saw the two biggest stars on the show, and they disappeared 10 minutes in. So let's give them credit. At least it was the opening segment, and they went to a match at the end. But my point is, again, as a writer, if they would have incorporated what they started last week with Alexa Bliss, and that was used throughout the entire show, and there was maybe some kind of a a hostage situation, whatever, they could have built off of last week and really created something really good this week. But they had the match in the first segment, they had the opening segment, and the last segment, Bray magically turns into the Fiend. Alexa Bliss is nowhere to be found. And I'm saying the same thing when I'm watching this at the end, like you. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, who am I rooting for? Like, what guy do I care about in this feud, and why? Why do I care about them?
Right. Especially when both of them have been booked strongly as two of the biggest heels, in WWE as of late. It just doesn't make sense to do it. And plus, it's not making a heel. I mean, it's not making Drew look stronger. Drew is, at least with Orton, I wasn't a big fan of the feud dragging out so long, but at least with Orton, though, he was a really, really strong heel in 2020, and it made Drew look like a bigger star because he was dancing with the really strong heel. Now they've diluted Orton so much, and they just throwing AJ in there. He hasn't really established himself strong enough as a heel right now. AJ doesn't even really feel like a heel sometimes. You know what I mean? He's just, he wrestles like a babyface still. So, I mean, AJ's AJ.
Yeah, I think AJ these days is more of a comedy figure than he is a heel.
Yeah.
Then you got Sheamus. So now we've got Sheamus and Drew, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm supposed to think Sheamus can beat Drew after Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy beat him. It's like, bro, it's like, guys, come on, man.
I agree. It's quite sad. Speaking of sad, they're dragging this Asuka and Lana and Baszler and Nia Jax thing. Asuka beat Shayna Baszler. And they're like, oh, for the second week in a row.
3 weeks.
Well, they won 2 tag matches.
Right.
For 2 weeks in a row. And then now Asuka beats Baszler.
Yep.
And so, okay, well, now we really got to book the match now. We really got to book the tag match now, because not only did the tag team champions lose against Asuka and Lana 2 weeks in a row, the women's champion beats Shayna Baszler. So, Vince, now we really have to.
Not yet, bro. Not yet, because we got part 4 next.
Yes, Lana and Nia Jax.
Got to beat Nia Jax. Now we got all 4. The tag team beat them twice. They won the 2 singles matches. Yeah. Maybe one more non-title match. Give them one more. Make it an even 3. And then we'll get the big match.
Yes, indeed. And then next week, if they beat them 2 falls straight out of 2 out of 3 falls, then we'll book the tag match. Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe. We have to ask Adam Pearce to go ahead and book the match after that.
Oh man.
Yeah. Next week gets Dana Brooke and Ricochet beating Reckoning.
We did have first. I can't let you go right over the riveting vignette in the back of the Hurt Business bullying the white guy. Like, okay, all right, bro. That just ate 30 seconds.
Yeah,
that's got to be how they write this show. That's 30 seconds. I
mean, yeah. You let us know. You're the insider here. Okay, so you let us know if you were back there. Why? What is the rhyme or reason or logic? Are they really thinking of that segment by segment and saying this is really going to be relevant in maximizing the time, even if it doesn't make sense?
Chris, they're supposed to be hooks. Okay, the backstage vignettes are supposed to be hooks, and they're supposed to be building to what we're going to see later in the show. That's what they're used for, to keep the people interested in the story. But the problem is none of these vignettes keep us interested in the story. None of them. No. They're supposed to be progressing the story, keeping us interested. Us wanting to see this. These guys bullying a white PA in the back. What is that building to?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's, again, why am I...
Chris, I lost your audio. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Don't know what happened. I
can hear you. Can you hear me? While he's doing that, let's get into some of these comments here.
Chris, I got you.
Okay,
I don't know what happened, bro, but maybe it was the Fiend, bro.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Sorry about that, everybody. I lost Chris for a second, but we are back.
Vince cut his mic.
But yeah, Chris, they're supposed to be building towards something. They're supposed to be building an audience. Oh, we can't wait till we see it. None of them do that. None of them. They're just eating time.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It really feels like it's eating time. It really does. Dana Brooke and Ricochet defeating Reckoning and Slapjack. This is another one. This is another week after week after week, just different variations of the same. Like we're seeing that three ways, Vince. We're seeing it with the women's tag storyline. We're seeing it in different variations of Ricochet versus Retribution, and we're seeing it different variations of New Day versus the Hurt Business. It's like we're just seeing the same story in different variations of the same variations. And it is like it doesn't make sense. Like here, you have Mustafa Ali saying, okay, we're going to get you. We want Ricochet to join Retribution. Why would I join Retribution if one, you're not some like in crowd, or you're not being very successful right now? You have 50-50 wins and losses. Reckoning just lost 2 weeks in a row to someone who's been struggling for years to have a successful career on the main roster. Why would I want to join that faction, Vince?
Chris, I got to tell you something. I'm going to give you a little inside information, and this isn't second, third, fourth, fifth hand information. This is Vince Russo information. I just can't tell you how I gathered this information. Okay? But I will tell you this. I've got information direct on a, good source. Okay. This isn't second, third, fourth hand. Bro, about 6 months ago, USA Network let it be known to WWE they were not happy. We're not happy with these numbers, with what we're paying for this show. We're not happy with the creative. They weren't happy about a lot of things. Okay. So, bro, the WWE came back to USA and pitched the two big creative storylines that were going to boost the ratings and get them headed in the right direction. When I heard this at that time, I laughed. Like I laughed when I heard it. But this is what they sold USA on, the big two story ideas. Bro, do you know what they were?
I'd imagine one was Retribution.
Retribution and Raw Underground. Those were the two ideas, bro, that they sold the USA. Bro, look at both of those ideas.
One is extinct and one is hidden there.
Could they have been any worse? No. Like, could they have come up with anything worse than what they promised that network.
No. Raw Underground to me was a joke from the beginning. And Retribution, and I keep saying, I mean, it just didn't make sense. Again, continuity. You have a Antifa like group that's coming in running roughshod, and not only and they're sawing. I mean, they're chainsawing ropes down. They're throwing bricks through offices. They're jacking up the pyro equipment. They're messing up the sound truck. They're causing thousands of dollars of damages for WWE. And what's the solution? Oh, let's just draft them on Raw. Like, I mean, where's the continuity there?
Well, Chris, are you a big Star Wars guy?
I am not. I watched one Star Wars movie.
But Chris,
I know Star Wars though.
You know what happened when you failed Lord Vader.
Yes.
You know you got called into that room and you
That's right.
disintegrated into specks.
Yes.
Whatever happened, bro, that's what makes me laugh. The fact that Ali is cutting promos on them after the match. That's the whole point, bro. Can you imagine Darth Vader cutting promos on his generals?
Right.
No, bro, Vader was making them disintegrate into freaking specks of dust. But Ali, you made me
right.
And you know what? Guess what, Ali? They'll be there next week making you look just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
That's the part, bro. That's a freaking joke.
100%.
Like, it's a joke, bro.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it just like the you got them because they were the overlooked. They're probably overlooked for a reason.
Now we know why they were overlooked. Now you're losing to Dana Brooke 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
Understand?
Yes. Now I get why you're overlooked. I tried. You're overlooked. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. Next we get Miz and Morrison. They had AJ Styles interrupted by Sheamus. And they keep plugging this. Is Sheamus going to turn heel? I'm not into it, man. I'm not. I mean, every single week. Oh, is he going to turn on him? Is he going? I mean, we find out later. We'll talk about it. It was more of a tease, but
bro, here's what it comes down to. Let's look at both shows, okay? Bro, is Kevin Owens really going to go over Roman Reigns?
No.
I don't think so. Is Sheamus 15 years into his WWE run after he loses to Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy? Is he really going to go over Drew McIntyre? No, I don't think so. So what are we watching for, bro? What are we watching for?
Man, that's a good question, man.
I mean, that's the thing. I can look back on so many feuds when, like, you didn't know. Chris, I had a house full of people. How are they going to book this Hogan versus Andre the Giant match? Yeah. I had 30 people at my freaking house because you didn't know. Bro, did anybody know how they were going to book Hogan and Warrior? You didn't know. Didn't know. Bro, every single one of these, give me a freaking break.
Man, that's so true. Like, you had, and special shout out to Simone here. I don't even bother to watch Raw anymore, but I'm always up for your reviews, guys. I love them. Thank you, Simone. You make such a good point. It was the irresistible force versus the immovable object. Andre looked like an unstoppable monster. And it was like Hogan was just running roughshod through all the competition. And but now he approaches Andre. He went through Bundy. He went through Stud. He went through all those names. But Andre, I don't know about that, And so he has that type of like, has Hogan met his match? And that's how it felt. Like, how in the world is Hogan going to get through this? And, and that was WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 6, 3 years later, Hogan still running roughshod. Now we got this other type of high energy guy, the Ultimate Warrior. He's running roughshod too. We had the face off at the Royal Rumble earlier that year, and it was just like, whoa, like it felt thunderous, that Royal Rumble that year at WrestleMania 6. And they only did a face off. It was amazing.
Let me tell you about thunderous. Okay, Chris, I was in Madison Square Garden the very first time Hogan wrestled Savage in the Garden.
Nice.
Chris, the rafters were shaking. Wow. Sold out, people hanging from the rafters. Bro, you know how like when you go to a baseball game and it's sold out and you can feel, bro, the Garden was shaking.
Nice.
Bro, you're gonna shake the Thunderdome with Sheamus and freaking McIntyre? You could shake my living room with Sheamus and McIntyre. I mean, come on, bro.
The only thing you could shake is shake my head like this. That's what you can shake. Yeah, I mean, that's a good comparison, and I think it's fair to compare it to those things, because why would we not want to compare it to the Garden? Are we okay? Like, just like you said last week, when you had a conversation with someone who tried to justify the product being dumbed down, so much, and like, and gave a justifiable answer. That's brainwashing. We should say, okay, well, we're wrestling fans. We should expect a good product. We shouldn't be like, okay, well, it's just a part of the times now. Well, don't watch it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for you to try to dumb down the fact that Raw is so bad, nowadays every week, as opposed to when wrestling was at its heyday. It's still a concept that does not, it's endless. It's the good guy, the bad guy gets the heat and makes the good guy feel like he's met his match. The good guy wins, and the good guy gets the comeuppance. They both feel important. So that's tried and true.
It's the strangest thing to me, because I'll start watching a series on television, and Chris, they'll wind up losing me. Maybe 3 or 4 episodes, they'll wind up losing me, and I will stop watching it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about wrestling, bro, is they keep watching it and they keep defending it. And I'm like, how can anybody with a straight face defend this show? Bro, it's bad. Yeah. And when a show is bad, you usually stop watching the show.
Yeah. And not sit and defend it when it's just, the ratings speaks for itself, man. It really does. Next we get you catch me on the backstage segments. Please continue to interrupt me on the backstage segments, because here's the thing, just like you said, it gets so redundant to me that I just overlook them now. It's just,
bro, I do too.
I'm like, okay, I'm really trying here, because I'm really trying to cover segment by segment, because that's what we do here on the show. But I'm like, another backstage segment that is totally irrelevant to any type of story arc. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So if I've missed a backstage segment, please let me know, because I'm just not interested. Then we get Kofi Kingston defeating Shelton Benjamin. And here's another segment that's been stretched. So you have Kofi Kingston beating Shelton Benjamin. Now, please understand the rhyme and reason behind this. Shelton Benjamin isn't good enough. Like, multi-time U.S. Intercontinental Tag Team Champion, world's greatest tag team, Team Angle, world-class college athlete, Shelton Benjamin, not good enough for Kofi Kingston. But Cedric Alexander, though, he's good enough for Kofi Kingston. And he comes back, beats Kofi Kingston. Oh, for this area, here we go. Second week in a row. Cedric Alexander beats Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. And my last thing on this before I pass the baton, Vince, is Cedric Alexander. Nice guy. I've interviewed him before. He's been on my show before. Nice guy. But please, let MVP do the talking. I cannot deal with the squeaky promos that Cedric Alexander, and I noticed he's like, come on, man, you want it? And then he gets real low. Yeah, man. I think he kind of heard himself while he was talking, and he caused himself to kind of have a little bass on his voice because he does this, like, he gets real mad, he gets real squeaky in his promos, and it doesn't really make him seem like a member of the Hurt Business when he does that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've said this many times, Chris. The Hurt Business started around the Black Lives Matter movement. And if I'm writing the show, I'm really writing something very strong that's mirroring society. And I'm going to do, they had the right guy with MVP. And we're going to rally all black athletes. And bro, I'm not talking about, we're not going to go through this locker room and beat up all the white wrestlers. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, you know, guys like MVP, guys that can speak. You got a lot of smart guys. Who's the Titus O'Neil, mm-hmm. Having conversations, man. Listen, man, we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, really making a difference. And then, bro, you're going to run into that group that says, F you don't deserve anything. You know, whatever. But you could have made that so real. Mm-hmm. But, bro, I swear, if you go back to the beginning of this, they have booked this from day one, black on black. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, bro, that has been done purposely. It has, because it's not coincidental, bro. When every single program is black on black, and the Hurt Business, they're beating up black PAs in the back, and they're doing it for a purpose. When again, if they would have taken a shred of reality, this could have been a beautiful story, man. Yeah. This could have really been a great story. The problem is, bro, they don't know how to tell good stories.
Especially when Retribution was actually a thing, when they were worth paying attention to. That would have been a perfect time to really, you know, have that. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Next week gets AJ Styles, The Miz and Morrison defeating Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. They teased the turn. Right now we have The Miz, you know, kind of in the shadows, and then AJ gets a title shot at TLC, and now they're teasing Sheamus now. So it just seems like they're just totally overlooking AJ. The Miz doesn't mean anything because right now the big story, Vince, is Sheamus going to turn against Drew McIntyre?
Bro, why am I going to go back to history again? Chris, do you remember? I know you're younger than me. Who could ever forget the Mega Powers?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Saturday night's main event, bro, when Elizabeth took that bump?
Yep.
And Hogan carried her to the bro. That's how you do it, not an accidental bro kick. And then, bro, here's the funny part. They do the accidental bro kick. Then they got to pop the boys in the back, and Pritchard's got to pop Vince. Oh, we're gonna beat up Pat Buck now. Now we're gonna pop everybody in the back because we're gonna beat up Pat Buck. And bro, this is just awful TV. And I like Drew a lot. I like the guy. This is just bad TV, bro.
Yeah. And it doesn't help him. I mean, like, he was the hottest thing coming into 2020. He eliminated, like, Lesnar, you know, eliminated half of the roster of the Royal Rumble. He gets a bro kick from Drew. That was one of the only thunderous moments. You know, yes, sure, you got COVID, but at the same time, I mean, at the baseball arena, Royal Rumble, that place went bananas when Drew bro kicked Brock Lesnar out of the ring. And so you had so much momentum going into the year with Drew, and they just blew it. And here's the thing. You can't blame COVID on just bad writing and bad creative. You can't do that. I mean, because we saw that. I mean, we see it with Roman. Roman's the hottest thing in wrestling right now, and during the COVID era, and COVID or no COVID, COVID is actually probably helping him because you'll have like a bunch of smart marks saying, "Okay, yay, Roman," and the point is to make him just a bad guy heel that you hate, and COVID is actually helping that. So you can't blame the reason why someone is just not getting over because of COVID. I mean, Randy Orton was super over, this year as a heel around mid-year and later on this year with Edge, just with his menacing heelish. It was a really kind of like a renaissance, with Randy Orton because of his heel character. But there's examples of people that have been successful in COVID. You're just not building Drew and making him look strong. You're having him lose a match against Roman Reigns at a Survivor Series that means nothing.
Yep.
And how in the world is that going to help his character?
Bro, look at what they've got in their back pocket. I mean, bro, this is what they've got in their back pocket. You got the Heyman with Reigns, so that sets up something with Lesnar. Okay. Then, of course, if you could get to Reigns and The Rock, they're going to go back to Orton and Edge. Bro, you can't keep going back to because, okay, bro, what happens when that's over?
Right.
Okay, bro, after Rock goes over Roman at WrestleMania and Rock gets his, God knows, $10 million payday, and then we never see Rock. Okay, now what? Now the next night on Raw, you're right back to start. How many times are we going to go? Well, let's bring Edge back. Okay, let's bring how many times are we going to do that, bro? Because what you're telling everybody is, bro, you're not building anybody. You're not making anybody in-house mean anything.
Yeah.
So how many times are you gonna, and then what? We're gonna bring Cena back. Cena's gonna be the one to beat Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gosh, bro, come on, man.
Yep.
It's such they're just in this, just this routine, man.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they go through routine, the number's lower, and the number's lower, and the number's lower.
And they'll spike up because they're showing the network, hey, we've got Goldberg here, we've got the Undertaker. See, we've got huge numbers.
Yep.
And it just spirals down. Yep. Speaking of the Undertaker, it's funny that you say that. And I think that's a really good point that you mentioned, because Taker said this in the Austin interview. He said it for a few times now. Just the conversation, and Vince said this in the Austin podcast too. As far as having Brock Lesnar go over against and break the streak, and that to me just really goes to show how much you don't have confidence in your current roster. And Vince was even saying that during the Austin podcast. And Vince and Taker, he said that it was the day of. He walked into he was supposed to win the match against Brock Lesnar at 30. The day of, Vince changed his mind. And then Vince, a few years ago, on Austin podcast said, well, there's nobody in the main there's no one in the roster that had could grab the brass ring. And so I wanted Undertaker to pay it forward. And so I decided for Brock Lesnar. What type of crazy crap is that? And even Taker said, a couple weeks ago on Austin's podcast, he was like, no, that wouldn't have been my call. I don't think it was a good call because it didn't do anything.
Right. It did do something. It sent Taker the other way.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
All the momentum, everything he had built up, everything from that point forward was in the negative column, not in the positive.
Agreed. Yeah, it did. It really.
And I think he would tell you that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the point is, Vince McMahon found no one in the roster to put. If this was really Taker paying it forward, Brock Lesnar was not the guy to pay it forward with. There's nothing that he needed to. That did nothing for Brock Lesnar. He did not need that whatsoever to establish, cement, progress, propel his career whatsoever.
Yep.
And Taker was like, look, I would have done it for Reigns, and Reigns beating me, it didn't have that same feel. You know what I mean? Exactly. Because of Brock Lesnar beating me, breaking the streak.
Yep.
And it just really goes to show that the current roster of Vince McMahon doesn't have enough confidence in. And just think how demoralizing that is for every, member of the roster who felt like they could have had a chance to break the streak. They're like, okay, we're going to give it to Lesnar. Like, he's been here for so long. He didn't need it. Yep. Maybe I can work my way up to maybe 2 years, 3 years. Maybe I can work my way up as a strong heel to say, okay, well, what do you think about me, Vince? I've spent these last 3 years really cementing myself as a heel. What do you think about me breaking the streak?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter now. Lesnar already did it. So everything else is irrelevant.
Bro, it used to be that certain wrestlers would be protected. Nobody's protected. Everybody loses. Nobody's protected anymore, bro. They all lose.
Yeah.
All of them.
50-50 everywhere, everything. Yep, 100%. We get Bobby Lashley defeating Jeff Hardy. Yeah, I mean, I guess Matt Riddle beforehand talking about bro nuts and broetry in motion, and trying to have a tag team with Jeff Hardy. He comes out, he roots for Jeff Hardy, and Lashley beats him, gets him in the hurt lock, and then MVP pulls Riddle out. He pushes MVP out. And somehow Riddle gets into it with Bobby Lashley, saying that was trash, bro. That was, and I don't know. I don't know what they're trying. They're really going to go forward on this Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle tag team, or they're going to have Riddle just be built to Bobby Lashley and lose. I'm not quite sure what this Hardy Bros thing
Bro,
is.
should we be the house right now, and should we start taking bets on the tag match next week between Hardy and Riddle and MVP and Lashley? Should we?
We should. Yeah.
On that right now. So I'll bet this house that match is on next week's show.
I could definitely. When I saw that at the end of the segment, I said, I bet you that's going to be the tag match for next week.
And then whatchamacallit, Lana's going to do something that, a fluke or something. She's going to beat Nia Jax.
Yeah, count out.
And then they're going to have the tag match over right then and there again. We're going to have the tag match for the third time.
Right.
I'm telling you, bro.
And then Asuka and Lana is going to So Lana is going to beat Nia Jax by disqualification.
Yes.
Nia Jax is going to beat up Lana, which is going to bring Asuka out. Then they're going to do a Teddy Long player tag team match.
Yes.
And then after that, somehow it's going to be another fluke. For the fourth week in a row, we see another win.
Yes.
And somehow that's going to say, you know what? I'll consider booking the tag match for TLC.
Next week on Raw. Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Then we get Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt to close the show. So Randy Orton gets a lot of offense here while he was Bray Wyatt, and oddly enough, when he was Bray Wyatt before, like a few weeks ago, he was more like the Fiend, and so now he's kind of away from Bray Wyatt again. They don't know how to make up their mind. Is he Bray? Is he not Bray? Is he coming? Is he me? It's a weird conundrum there. The end of the match was Orton. He gets some comeuppance. A little bit of lights come off. He hits an RKO. By the time he pins Bray Wyatt, the lights come back on. Bray Wyatt turns into the Fiend, and then he gets the mandible claw to end the show. So that is the end of the show. And I was looking at it I was really looking at that like, what do you want me to do here? Do you want me to say, oh yes, the Fiend is good? Like, what do you want me to do here?
Bro, I got to tell you something. First of all, if I was writing this, I would not be in this situation. Like, no, bro, I swear to God, the only thing, and they wouldn't, first, A, they would never have the balls to do this. B, they wouldn't have the balls to do it because they wouldn't know how to do it. They wouldn't know where to go with it. Bro, the only thing that could literally, because they've done the same thing to the Fiend, you know, Rollins burying him and all that shit, and Goldberg, they've done the same thing to him. Bro, the only thing that could revive life back into this, honestly, bro, is if the Fiend wasn't Bray Wyatt. If they could tell a story and find, you know, somebody with the same exact body, and I'm sure somebody's out there, bro, and it wasn't Bray, okay, bro, now you got me. But he's another wrestler on the card, and I love Bray Wyatt. I love the Fiend. I know Bray comes up with a lot of that stuff on his own. Yeah. Like I said, bro, you know, you lay down that story last week, zero follow-up. Alexa Bliss, I mean, I've not heard she's got COVID, so like I don't know where she is.
Yep, it is really again no continuity, and again, like I said, I mean, if I stop watching wrestling, there's no need for me to backlog to see what has led me to this moment, because it's so much start-stop. I can literally go without watching wrestling for 6 months and be like, okay, let me just come in today. It's probably something that's happened over and over and over again over the past 6 months. There's no need for me to watch it.
Bro, you know what's funny? What's funny is they keep playing these replays and these packages over and over again just in case we miss something.
Right.
We didn't miss anything. Like, they're playing packages over that we don't need to see.
Right.
Like, whether we saw the package or not, like, it's the same match.
Yeah.
But,
the same match. The
bro,
different variations of the same thing.
Here's what it is, bro. It's this in a nutshell. Their system, their structure, the way they write TV, Vince changing TV the day of, the people they have in key places, bro, it's broken. Yeah. It's all broken. You would need a complete whitewash to start from scratch and to start over. And that's never going to happen, bro, because you're going to have the same players doing the same things, and the system is broken.
Yeah. Very, very sad. Well, that's Raw. On a lighter note, on a somber note, Pat Patterson passed away at 79. And on a lighter note from that, you work with Pat Patterson quite a bit, and I'm interested in hearing some fond memories you have of Pat Patterson.
Yeah, bro. That was tough, man. I did have the honor and the privilege of working with Pat. Bro, nobody could lay out a match like Pat Patterson. Yeah. Nobody. I would stand in the distance and just watch him going over matches with talent. I'm talking about the Bret Harts and the Shawn Michaels, him not even knowing I was watching. And I'm watching this to get an education. And, bro, he could just see the match. I mean, he could just see it. And as he's laying it out with these great talents, he just visualized the match from beginning to end. That's a gift, bro. Like, you can't learn that. Like, you've got to have a sixth sense about that. And then, of course, bro, it was such a thrill for me to, do the Patterson Briscoe stuff. Bro, they both of those guys went back to their wrestling days, like the hams that they were. It doesn't matter, bro, that they were in their 60s. They were reliving those days all over again. I mean, bro, they couldn't wait to get the creative, and then they would ad lib it. So they were. I love people that are funny and have no idea that they're funny, because I produced dozens and dozens and dozens of Patterson and Briscoe. bro, they were so naturally funny and didn't even know it. Like I would be crying watching these guys perform, and they like didn't have a clue.
Yeah,
that's the ham. That's the performer. And Pat was a ham. Pat was a performer. But Pat also had a great wrestling mind, bro.
yeah, and it showed. I mean, I don't know who else could be compared to Patterson, as far as being the best finish guy, in pro wrestling. I don't think,
bro, I would have given anything. I think, bro, I'm almost positive it was Patterson and Sergeant Slaughter that had that bloodbath. They had some kind of bloodbath. Bro, I swear to God, I would have taken a 20-minute Pat Patterson match on this show in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, bro. I would please, put on a Pat match. Let's watch Pat's best match, It would have been so much better than what they put on the show tonight, bro.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, this is it for tonight. We made it. We made it through another episode of Raw, and I really enjoy. It's funny because it's really tough watching these episodes of Raw. But I'm happy that I have a reason to watch it now. All the way through. During the time, kind of during the time this on. I think we both made an establishment that we don't start on time every week.
Hey, listen, Chris, this is what it comes down to. Chris, a lot of my colleagues that I work with, okay, and speak to on a daily basis, bro, I could tell in my conversations with them, guys that have been in the business for decades, bro, even they have lowered the bar. Bro, I'm not low. Why should I lower the bar? Chris, who are you a fan of in football?
Derrick Henry, big Titans fan.
A big Titans fan. Bro, if all of a sudden the next 10 years, the Titans go every year 8-8, you're good with that?
No.
No, bro. We don't lower the bar for our sports teams.
Correct.
Why am I going to lower the bar for a television show? I refuse to lower the bar. Mm-hmm. I was there and I helped write a show that was successful. I know what we did. Mm-hmm. And I know it can be done.
Yes.
So I'm not going to lower the bar so it doesn't seem like, what are we, the two grumpy old men?
Yeah, playing bingo.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Why should we lower the bar, bro?
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I agree. And I've been a wrestling fan for 35 years. I mean, it's one of those things that I know what good wrestling looks like.
That's right.
And I'm not going to settle for less. Simple as that. I'm just not going to settle for less.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, man.
Yep. Let them know about the brand.
Yeah, guys, I want to let everybody know we do this every single year, guys, for the month of December. If you go to russosbrand.com for the month of December, if you've never been a brand member, we offer you a free month. So if you sign up tomorrow, which is the 9th, I think, you'll get a month from December 9th to January 9th. Free, bro. No strings attached. After you get your full month, you could opt out. It's our way of letting you sample the brand. So, guys, just go to russosbrand.com. I mean, Chris, I'm sure your parents taught you like mine. Bro, if something's free, take it.
Take it. Absolutely. This isn't 99 cents a minute like the old WCW hotlines. This is free, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Yeah. Vince, it's been a pleasure as always, man.
All right. Yeah, Chris, thank you very much, man. And thanks for your honesty as always, man.
Awesome. Have a good night.
All right. Take care.